Well, hello there, Youest You community, family, and friends. I'm so honored to be here with you today. I am so excited about this conversation we're having today. It's with a sister from another mister, a dear friend, also a total business badass. I want to introduce you to my beloved friend, Emmy Ray. Emmy is a CEO and founder of two multi-seven-figure companies. She has been in the online space for over 20 years. She is also a certified life designer coach. She's a certified trainer of NLP. She's a certified facilitator with Exchange, where we met. She is totally certified in many things and is so she's got so much wisdom about how to expand, how to grow your business in a really authentic way. And I am so excited because today we are going to be talking all about the three key secrets to building your coaching business. And I also just love conversations with you, Emmy. So yay, welcome. I'm thrilled you're here,
Oh
girl.
my gosh, thank you so much. That's such an amazing intro. Yeah, so where do we even start? So, I
Yeah.
mean, the online space is crazy huge. And when you're trying to build a business, specifically a coaching business, there's a lot of factors that will like lead into kind of stagnation or business building. I don't know if you I think I've seen it a lot, and I know we've talked about it a lot. It's kind of like what stops people from like they'll have these really beautiful tools, like they'll know how to coach and they're amazing and they're brilliant, but then the business side of it just doesn't ever seem to come, or there's like overwhelm, or there's just factors that um that just kind of like kill all the passion,
Yeah.
even if they still have that passion inside of those coaching sessions.
Yeah.
So today I just wanted to talk about the three secrets to kind of building a beautiful coaching business, because I think they're not really talked about enough. Like the first,
Can I pause you for 1 second before
yes,
you do that?
absolutely.
This is totally how we talk all the time. Like, hold on, wait
Yeah.
a minute, I got an ADD thought. Wait a sec. Well, I just
Yeah.
want to say for anyone listening, this is for coaches, and there are so many different
Yeah.
kinds of coaches out there these days, which
Oh,
is
100.
amazing. It's also, though, if you are a creative, if you're a healer, if you're in that, maybe you're a nutritionist or a teacher, like this can be applied whether or not you use the word coach. I think what we're really talking about is in that service industry where you're really making an impact with somebody else. Coaching, we're obviously talking, yes, about coaches, but I think this will be relatable. So I just wanted to say, because I know many of our listeners are coaches or thinking of becoming coaches. Some do, similar type of work. And so please take what you like, leave the rest. But just wanted to say that before we dive in. All right. And now I think you should just take it away because
Yeah.
first secret's big. And this is important.
It's and you're right though, it's not just for coaches. It's literally any business that isn't necessarily a product, but it's something that's central to rapport and relationships, which could be like your creatives, your coaches, I mean, it is applicable to so many different things. The first thing is to understand that you don't have a normal business. If your
Amen,
business,
girl. We do
it's like
not.
it's no, because this field, like even if it's just like energy work or all of those things, people are seeking out the relationship and the rapport aspect of it. And so a lot of times people don't understand that when they're blasting their social media about, different particular aspects, they're not actually building the rapport to pull people in to get close enough to build a relationship, to make an actual transaction, to have somebody like want to continue with them, which kind of leads to the second point. There's when you go through your program and you come out with tools and you want to help the world and you want to be that light worker, there are so many experts out there that are ready to like help you with your marketing and help you with all of these things. And because there's so much that goes in, it's really hard to decipher like what's relevant, what's important. So I know that like it's like, well, maybe you think that you need to do course building, or maybe you think that you need to do social media marketing. Well, if you were just better at TikTok, or if you were just this and that, like there are so many things and so many directions that it's almost like you don't know where to look and what's relevant, what's important. And it's just that overwhelm that 100% tanks your momentum.
Yeah.
So when we get into that overwhelmed space, it's kind of like, okay, when we feel something that's not working, we're pretty quick to pivot. Like
Yeah,
as
totally.
business owners, it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't work. Well, then I need to try something else, which means like, so you end up throwing a bunch of money down rabbit holes, like trying to chase this dream of like, what's going to finally click, what's going to make the biggest difference, what's going to be that thing. And then you start to feel like a failure
Yeah.
because it really does just kind of grate on like your heart after a while, because it's like, well, if I'm promoting all this stuff on Instagram, does nobody like me? And then it starts to feel maybe a little bit like rejection.
Mm.
And like, how do I get from this post to butt in chair to like be in my session? There's like this disconnect, especially if you're doing, packages that have a higher dollar amount to them. So kind of understanding that there is strategy around creating a relationship business, that there are specific steps, that it doesn't need to be everything on social media, all of these things. I'm a firm believer that you could build a 100% successful business without a website, without social media, without all of that, because it's literally the connections that you make one-on-one with people. But you have to have a strategy there. And that does not feel natural. At least it didn't to me. Like it didn't, at all to me. Like I know when we first sat down in LDC 1 and you're like, it's all about relationship marketing. I did not get it, because I have been coming from the online world of like product sales and marketing.
Right. And let me pause you. LDC is
Yeah.
the Life Designer
Oh,
Coaching
yes.
Academy for people. No, we use this vernacular all the time. And someone's like, wait a minute, I want to know, what is LD? I want to be in it. I'm like, it's the Coach Academy. But yeah, I remember I just remember that didn't land.
And I was
for
like, I don't
everybody.
want to have to go and like talk in front of networking groups and like do all this stuff, because that wasn't what felt natural to me. But I didn't realize that there was a better way to build out your own strategy, to get it done. And so, and so just not going down all of those different rabbit holes is following a structure that works. So the first thing that you need to do is know how to talk about what you do. Be able to tell people, because if you can't say, like, coaching is and some of the other fields are really nebulous, right? In terms of like their descriptors. So if you say, well, I'm a coach, a lot of people think like little league, or they won't know exactly like, unless you're in that space already. So knowing how to talk about what you do in a way that makes sense to someone else so that they instantly get it makes your job a lot easier. Then knowing how to invite them in to go a little bit deeper, to really understand what it is in the framework of what you do, and just having that and knowing, how to put your offers together, what the pricing should be, and how you're going to custom craft that for a particular individual, especially if you're doing like one-on-one coaching, is going to be really super important. And there's frameworks to go through all of these. So just knowing that if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, like you've just gone through like any program that has given you tools, and you're starting to feel that like, oh my God, I don't know which direction to go, that's totally normal. And for what it's worth, it's not clear, because the systems and the programs that are out there are designed for products. They're designed for things that aren't necessarily selling like your intuitive gifts, right? Which is going to
go ahead. Finish. I want to hear.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not necessarily like it's going to change based on the group that you're working with, or the one-on-one relationship that you're working with. And so it becomes very difficult to like have a one size fits all kind of like product kind of blast out, right?
I just want
Yeah.
to echo what you're saying, and I know we'll talk about three, and then I will
Mm,
unpack them. This is
yeah.
so true. When I started my business a little under 10 years ago, I mean, honestly, this is why I said the relationship piece is so important. I mean, I had nothing fancy. I made my own website on GoDaddy. It had like 7 fonts and 8 colors. It was
Yeah.
disaster, yet it didn't matter because it
Mhm.
wasn't about that. You don't need
Nope.
fancy. And I think this goes really beautifully into the third secret, which is so important. And I know something we both really
Yeah.
focus on, is really having that grounding and being confident, but also that, having that connection to what you're doing in a way of being of service and, being comfortable with getting out there and talking to people. But I'll let you share because I love how you talk about it. And then
So
we'll
number
go.
3.
Yeah, number
Do you
3 for
want
those waiting is
drum roll. Um, Mindset is your momentum. Your mindset is everything. It will literally, if your mindset is off, it will stop you in your tracks.
yeah,
There was a period in my business, and this is any business, not just with coaching or with intuitive work. There was a period of time in my business where I just, because I've been in my same business, my same online business for 20 years, 22 now, but who's counting? But I remember hitting, because you're not always gonna feel like you're on the upswing, but I just remember hitting a period of like 3 or 4 years where I really struggled. Like I could not get past the idea that like this, it had to be hard. It had to be, like, or I didn't earn it, or I wasn't working hard enough. And it wasn't until I actually started doing more with coaching and really started looking into like, why are these stories here? Why is my narrative so dark around this? Because it's like, what do I want? I want money to be easy. I want money to be fun. I want to not be scared of it. I want to not feel like every time I look in my account, it's like, oh my God, I have to get everything up. And that, because that literally, when your focus is on that scarcity, it becomes really terrifying and difficult to take choice, not take choices, uh to take action on things that are inspired, because you feel like you have to know what you have to do. And if you don't stay the like straight and narrow, so you stop taking risks that could have bigger payoffs or that are more exciting, and so your business starts to feel really stressful.
yeah.
And so with coaching, I was able to completely flip that. And so it- I know that from a very deep personal level, that your mindset is everything, because it is going to like be whether you continue on or whether you just stop and shut down. Because it was in those moments where I mean, I could have said, this is too much. I'm not having fun anymore. I just need to like cut everything off and just shut it down and just go back to working for somebody else.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
scary, you know?
Well, and I think it's scary, and it can also get in the way of the whole reason that you chose to get into this work. And this is something
Mhm.
to talk about in a moment, because you were in the first cohort that I did, the Life Designer
Yeah,
Coach Academy, and we had an
so great.
amazing group of, soon to be coaches. And one thing I remember, and just you could feel is palpable, is the passion for this work. This is, true coaching. It's not about giving answers. It's the most empowering modality I know, because you're
Yeah,
literally with another person or a group, if you're leading a group, knowing that expertise, that wisdom lies within, and you're helping to pull that out. It's learning how to be, to hold space and to help somebody else discover their potentiality. It's so powerful. And you saw all these coaches, we saw these amazing coaches come out of it.
brilliant. Brilliant.
And, I think what I've seen now in the going into now the 8th cohort is that mindset, like you said, that third secret is so crucial. And, this is one of the reasons you and I talked
Yeah.
almost a year ago, and we worked together to really collaborate, redesign the next course coming out in 2023, Monetize Your Purpose, which is kind of the second part of
Yeah.
LDC, Life Designer Coach Academy,
Yeah.
because we're going to be teaching, we're going to be going through everything we're talking about. Yet that
Yeah.
mindset piece, I've got to say,
It's huge.
it's so huge. I almost, not that I took it for granted, but it's been something I've just worked on since day one. It's a
And
given.
predictable. Can we go there? Because
Yeah.
I think that like when you are learning a new skill and when you are especially for people that are becoming entrepreneurs and they don't have people in their background that are entrepreneurs, there are predictable blocks that you will hit at every single level,
Yeah.
whether that's being able to use your voice, being able to be seen.
Yeah.
For me, money was huge. I had
Yeah.
so many money blocks because I was like, I'm not working hard enough. I'm not offering enough value. I'm not. And it was like, man, it wasn't really until I started like really like digging into that, and by no means like, am I perfect and totally over that? Because at each level, it doesn't change. When you level up, like, yeah, I've made like 7-figure businesses, but I still like go into my shit too, just because it's that part of that natural like programming. So it's something that I really need to be mindful of because at each next level, it's like it starts getting triggered again. And so really having the tools to know like that it's okay. This is just what needs to happen. But you can't have your mindset come to like a halt because that's your momentum. If I were to say like, oh my God, I can't do this, it's too scary, my business ends right there. Like I'm not going to up level. Every up level is terrifying, whether it's putting yourself in front of people. Like, what is it? Like public speaking is like one of the number one fears, of people. It's like, you're not going to die, but it's
Right.
terrifying. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
And, but it is that. So it's being able to tell people what you do in a way that you are convinced that that is also what you do, because that comes across, right? So it's in tiny little blocks and pieces in there. So building your business, you need kind of a set of like mindset tools that will get you over like each individual hurdle. Yeah.
Absolutely. This is one of the reasons, I mean, I adore you and I respect you and I'm inspired by your experience, 22 plus years in the online industry, 2 7-figure businesses, coaching, all the training. And I don't have that experience yet, but I can tell you just from both having my own business and then coaching with a lot of coaches and healers and creatives and people that really are so jazzed and on fire and passionate. This feels like, this is your Youest You, right? Like you're making an impact. You want to be of service. So I think what we're talking about, it's so important because I always say like, if I love that. I love that Rumi quote, what you're seeking is seeking you. However, if you have a big old block that's telling you what you're seeking is not going to happen, no one's going to find you.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking like while you were saying that, there's a big difference in like the successful business that I've been able to build and the successful business that you've been able to build. And there's a huge difference because I've been really solid on like online products. So I've been through course building funnels, website builds, all kinds of like email strategies. Like I know all of that. But the funny thing is that I know that coaching is my passion, but I couldn't build a coaching business based on that. And I tried. So it was like, oh, this is terrible.
I know.
This is awful. But for you, it's so cool to see because what you have is all of the wisdom about how to actually get butts in chairs and about how to like build those relationships. And so you can see it's completely different because it's like, yeah, you're now on the product trajectory to build it into a different kind of business. But when you're looking at, and this I think just really emphasizes the point about how different those two worlds can really be.
Yeah, I think this is really important. I'm thinking for anyone listening, if you're switching into the service, from a product to a service, if you're just getting, wading in, getting your feet wet, or you've been trying this for a little while, going back to that first secret. And this is really, really true. And
Yeah.
what you just said is,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not like the way all the other ducklings
Mm-mm.
look. This is
No.
not the same thing. And some of
Mm-mm.
those things that you're told you have to buy, you have to do. I mean, I have to tell you, it kind of helped that when I started, I didn't have a nest egg. I didn't have an investor. I didn't have a trust fund. I mean, I, didn't
But
have
it
any of
also
that.
explains why your website can be a million different colors and done in Comic Sans and like just look like a hot
Right.
mess, because it really doesn't matter,
It
because
didn't
they're,
matter then. Right. Right.
yeah. And I think that because if you have the understanding that this isn't a normal business, you can't funnel your way into a relationship,
That's right.
right? You can't marketing funnel someone into rapport with you. I mean, there are elements you can add in, but
It takes
not
longer.
blasting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Different.
totally, totally different. Like if you
Yeah.
want to go fast and you want people to like be in your programs, there's way better ways to do it. Way better ways to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I love it. Well, this is, I'm like, oh my God, we have so much. This is why we're teaching this.
I
This is
know.
why, and I have to say, Emmy, shout out to you for like coming in. This was a course I had been teaching for a while. And Emmy is like, hey, sister, listen, I've been in this world longer. And I have, you said it
Mhm.
very with humility, and you've so much wisdom, and just you're going in and helping to redesign this program because it is about, we want you to monetize your purpose, meaning to be abundant, to be prosperous
Mhm.
in doing what you love. If, I was just rereading The Big Leap, which is like, stay in your zone of genius. And what I heard you say is coaching is your zone of genius. And
Mhm.
I really have seen this when someone decides to put themselves in a program and train and certified to be coached, to be a coach. You don't just do that, like, unless it really is a
Mhm.
heart calling. So I'm just,
Yeah.
anyone we're talking to, we know this is your desire, your
Oh,
passion, your zone of genius. And we want you to be
100%.
successful because freaking the world needs more of us. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of depression and anxiety and overwhelm. And I just want to say, like, I know where I'm coming from is, we need as many of you trained, amazing coaches out there doing beautiful work in business. And so anyhow, that understanding it's not a normal business, you knew that. And just in redesigning and building Monetize Your Purpose, you really brought such wisdom and experience to that.
So one of the things that I bring from my background
Yeah.
is I'm a strategizer, and my biggest thing is structure and strategy. It's no, I can, one of my superpowers is being able to look at a framework and like break that down into first, second, third manageable steps, because the second key on this is the overwhelm factor. If you are overwhelmed, you won't be able to get to step two. You won't be able to get to step three, because it will stop you in your tracks. And so I was like, these concepts were so brilliant, and being able to really boil down to the bare bones of like, well, if you don't need a website, well, then what the hell do you need? Because you're told like everybody needs a website. And I'm not saying not to have one, but just that
Right.
it's not necessarily the critical component. I'm not saying don't have an Instagram or don't have a TikTok or don't do whatever, but don't make it your critical component. Like if you were going to build from scratch, there is a very low bar of like first, second, third, that are the baby steps that make it manageable, that make it so that you don't feel like you need to freak out. And then pairing it with the mindset piece of like, for your first step, you just need to be able to know, what do you call yourself when somebody asks you? Is so basic, but it's so funny because it's like people don't think about it. If I were to say to you like, well, what's your title, like what is it that you do? If most people will go back to the job that they did before they took their coaching program, well, I'm this, but I also coach on the side or whatever. It's like, own it, own your title. What is it that you do? And if you don't know what your title is, brainstorm it out. Like just put a bunch of words on paper. Like, are you a coach? Are you an intuitive? Are you a systems person? Like what is it that it is that if you were to tell people like, oh, I do this, that it would be clear and that it would spark interest and that your conversation could then go to the next level, which also brings me to the second part is then having that next level of, well, how do you do that? What is it that you do? And kind of having some verbiage around that, just real basic stuff. But they're the things that when we come through a program, we miss that part. Like now we have all the tools and we love what we do and we know how to do the passionate thing and we can see all these changes, but it's now getting to that next level of stepping into that identity. It's about being able to know, well, if I was going to offer somebody a program, how do I know that it hits all their marks? How do I know that it'll be worth it for them so that I feel confident when I present my offer? If they aren't ready to buy, I won't take it as a, oh my God, I'm doing this wrong, but just knowing that they know what the offer is. It may take them a little bit of time before they're ready to step into it, and that's okay. So it's also not about hard sales. Oh my gosh, this is about relationships, right? So I need to stress here too, because a lot of what like the marketing side of things is like sell, 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 and like word it a certain way and do these certain things. And to be honest, when you're in a sales position and you need that relationship to be intact, this isn't about hard selling. This is about whether it's right for somebody. Because if you're the right person and you have the ability to help them through, you don't need to sell it. They want that.
Yeah.
They already want that, as long as you've done a really good job of being able to present what it is that you do. And so that's kind of baked into the structure and the strategy of what we've designed, what we've done the redesign around in Monetize Your Purpose, is having those key elements in place so that you can really know what you're selling, like, in terms of, I shouldn't say know what you're selling because it's like the coaching and the tools that you use, but it's the knowing how to present that offer and knowing how to like hit all of their key points so that you can really reach them at that level.
And I think I'm seeing, I always love metaphors. I love me some metaphors.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I think we actually go in I teach this in the beginning of the coaching certification, but we talk about the iceberg principle, and I'm seeing it. So I'm like, okay, let me share this, that, mindset is what we're seeing, but what's under that, the big iceberg under that is often we've got to look at worthiness. You've got to look at confidence. You've got to look at, you talked about, I know I had this too, comfortability around money and that's a big one. And, owning your worth and power and value, and being comfortable stepping out, visibility. There's so many little like underneath that's all part of mindset, which is certainly what we're going to be big time helping to teach and learn and to change.
And mindset is so funny too, because it's not just about saying an affirmation that you don't believe.
Not. Right.
It's about how do you truly get yourself on the same page of believing what you want to believe.
Yeah.
Not just trying to like gloss over and tell yourself things that, sound good on paper and that sometimes you believe, but that deep in your mind, you're arguing with that.
Yeah.
Oh, so absolutely.
Yeah. It does not work. I've tried that version.
I think we've both been there.
Not work. And I think the thing to say, because I know many listen, I know many of you have written in, you are a coach, you want to be a coach, or you're in a world of maybe a healer, a Reiki practitioner, energy worker, counselor, therapist. We've had a lot of therapists actually go through the coaching program to do both. Any of that kind of industry, like here's the thing, and this is part of what I know we've also woven in is, here's the thing that's different when you have a product. It can feel very personal when it's like, hi, when you think of it like, hire me, I'm the coach. And part of what we're going to unpack is, we can get into a little bit here. The truth is it's about you and it's not about you. And so there's a really great dance here with owning your skills, your, understanding your client and how you can make an impact, feeling that worthiness, feeling comfortable around money, knowing that what you're offering is valuable and getting, they're hiring you. And yet the thing about this service of coaching is it's actually, it's one of the reasons I love it is I kind of disappear myself. I mean, we just talked about
Mhm.
that. So
Yes.
you're selling, you're talking about the transformation, the ability to help someone literally
Mhm.
actualize their dreams and live in their potentiality. To me, like that fires me up more than the worries that I'm not good enough. Like I've just seen, so there's so much in this that we go through. And
Mhm.
that's why, it's not a 1 month program. Like we're going to be,
I don't think there's any way it could be like
no,
a one and done. Like there's people that can give you a structure, but you can't, like, even if you work through it at your own pace, it's the pairing with the blocks that are going to stop you like at each point. So if you went through like even just the basics of how to talk about coaching or like getting your title, those seem kind of basic, but if you have imposter syndrome that you're not dealing with, or when you get to the sales part and putting, like, you might be able to put together your offer and you might be able to understand like why it's of value to somebody. But if you personally say a number and like inside you kind of cringe a little bit, that will always feel hard. And so we want you to be able to say it and know those numbers have value and that you are truly serving, because you can't serve the world unless you can get paid for it, because your resources will be so limited. You might be able to help like one or two people for free, but then you got to go work your day job or whatever it is that you do. So you have to be able to like say like, I charge this for this, like for this package for you, and have it be worthy to know that you are going to be healing the world by allowing yourself to accept that money.
yes. This is one of the reasons, and I know you and I've talked about this a lot, and I'm a huge believer, especially whatever the trade or the type of coaching or work that you're in. I personally believe it's a must. And I think you feel the same. You must have the experience of hiring other coaches and others that are going to help you. You
Yeah.
must experience this firsthand. It is
Yeah, and I would highly advise that if anybody is out there and they're doing coaching work in trade, put a you put a payment on it, because
yep.
even if you're just exchanging the same few $100 back and forth for your sessions, like it inevitably, like you want to feel like, no, I'm investing in this, I'm paying for the services. And then if anything ever goes, awry and like that person, you know, you end up coaching more than they end up coaching you, then there's still that balance of equity there. Because truly, like, it's so important that coaches have coaches, because if you believe in the work,
Yep.
then you already know, like, this gives your life structure. It gives it like, purpose. I mean, even for any of like the energy worker fields, like, just if you believe in what you do, that means that you want to be a consumer of what you do.
Absolutely.
I
Good
think it's
therapists have therapists, good coach.
absolutely.
I see this, and you listen to those that are really doing this in a high level way. And, it is so crucial. It also shifts your own, it will be a part of your mindset shift, because I know for me, having almost always had a coach, I know the transformation. I mean, it changed my life. I mean, that's why I'm doing this work. So I left a 9 to 5 job, literally as a single mom. When I did that, I was like, this changed my life. How many other lives can I be a part of, their own
Mhm.
transformation? However, and we're not stagnant individuals. We're constantly, especially if you're in this world, if you're listening to this, my sense is you're probably like
Yeah.
me, kind of a growth junkie. Like you want to grow and be your best and be, being your Youest You. That is an evolutionary process. That's not okay, today, like I'm done. It just isn't. It's a continuous evolution of growth and personal development. And so having somebody who's trained, and of course
Mhm.
now I do have a bunch of coaches to check out, and I can put that in the show notes. We've got the amazing certified life designer coaches, or others you might know. Like, find somebody who's trained that can help you, so you also understand, embody, and have experienced giving that energy of currency it makes a difference when you put yourself out there. It really does. And I know I know in the course we go into
And
it.
finding somebody that resonates with you, because
Oh yeah.
it's such a personal field, right? So like there are going to be people that when you hear them talk, you're like, oh God, please stop. And there are going to be people that like when they talk, you're like, oh, I just want more. I just want more of that. And it is okay to have and understand both sides. So if you find a coach and it just doesn't have the resonance, that's fine. Not every person is going to be for you.
Yes, 100%. I just want to say, Emmy is one of my life designer certified coach. She's you're an amazing coach, Emmy. And, I'm just so grateful for you and your generosity and time and wisdom and brilliance. And it's so clear, like you're so passionate about this work. And I'm with you. I'm on the same train. And I think anyone who's still listening at this point, if you're still listening to this episode, I think either you're thinking about it being a coach, you've been coached, you are a coach, or you're in an industry that you also, are helping others and being of service. We love you. Thanks for still being here with us. And I just appreciate you. I'm really, really super excited about this whole, launch of Monetize Your Purpose in the beginning of 2023. I'm going to make sure in the show notes, we'll have a wait list. So if you're interested, there will be a link in the show notes and you can put your name on the wait list if you're interested in being in this program. Emmy is amazing, as you can hear. Just really grateful for you and your, sharing what you've seen, because I think just naming it, this is not the same as selling a product. It's also its own special little thing. It just is. It really is.
It really is. It really is. The conventional methods of how you would normally think a product is sold is not the same way that we do this at all. It can't be. They're just by their very nature, they're just very, very different modalities. And like I was saying, like when I have tried to apply like what I know about like all of my years of business and creating successful businesses, it didn't work. It didn't have the same power to it. I mean, from that first class, I saw so many successful coaches that were like taking action just by talking about, who they wanted to like help, and like really just being like, yeah, these are my people. This is, and starting to book them. And I was like, well, you're going to need your website and you're going to need your branding and you're going to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way.
No.
This is a totally different game. Totally different game.
I'm thinking of those like Blair Kaplan and Jen Conroy and some of the amazing coaches who were just like, I'm doing this. It's kind of where I was like, I'm doing this because I'm in love with this work and I don't know how it's going to happen, but I don't have anything fancy. I'm just going to start talking to people and hear what is going on for them and listening, because you're using, and that's part of what we'll go into too, using your coaching tools to build relationships that are authentic and genuine. You cannot, there's nothing else that supersedes.
There's no substitute.
No,
but there is a framework where it makes it way easier to talk to people and to understand what to say and to get in front of people and to know how to create those relationships. And that, I think, is the piece that's missing for a lot of people that already have been through coaching programs, that already have a tool subset. I know that all of my NLP training, I have a ton of tools. And even with facilitation as well, I've got a ton of different skill sets. But what I didn't have was understanding the basics of how to build that relationships and how to craft an offer for that particular person or group.
Yeah.
So it's, how do you get in front of the right people? How do you create the right relationships? How do you know what your pricing should be? All of those things. And then how does that not scare the crap out of you? Getting the mindset in there, just keeping that all in check. And I think it's just what we have built in MYP is such a comprehensive system that will take you from the very basics of it and baby step you through so that you don't get killed with overwhelm, that you don't lose your momentum, that your mindset is supported in all of the changes that you're making. Because let's be real, this is this is a kind of a weird skill set to become an entrepreneur. If you haven't been an entrepreneur before, it's vulnerable
Yeah.
and your discomfort is required. And so having somebody or having a team that can like really support you through those steps is, I think, I mean, it's a game changer.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is why I'm so grateful we partnered. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
to be doing this
Yeah.
with you. We're going to be really, and Emmy taking the reins, like diving deep into these 3 secrets, unpacking them at a whole other
Mhm.
level with framework, with tools, with how-tos, with exercises, with mindset. I mean, like we got you covered because I know we both feel the same. We want anyone, if you have that desire and passion to help others really unlock their best life and to do the same for yourself, we want you to succeed because that is needed. And so, yeah, I'm just grateful we're going to be doing MYP stands for Monetize Your Purpose, which is all under that Life Designer Coach Academy. And we're going to be launching in 2023. I'm so excited. We'll have a wait list, little link down below in the show notes. And I'm so eager to like really demystify how to get out there and how to be successful and abundant and prosperous and also feel, to feel empowered in this work. That's I think one of the most important things is to feel like I didn't just get this training for nothing, that I'm able to really help others. And sister, you're awesome at it. I'm thrilled to be
Thank you.
involved and so grateful for you and your amazing knowledge and heart.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to do this with you, seriously, because even just working through the material, like it clarified so much, even just for me building out the program. It was like, oh, right. And because you see it, like, it's like, this is what successful coaches are doing. This is how the formula works. And it's so much simpler
Yeah.
than anything that I've seen for this area. So anyway, thank you so much
Yay.
for all of that.
Well, and the last thing I'll say is we bring in, and I know one of the things I love about you and this work and the way we're coming at it is it's authentic and there's integrity and there's
Yeah.
heart and it has an integrative approach, which is definitely,
Mhm.
both of our training. And anyhow, I'm excited and just love you. And I want to thank you, dear listener, if you're still here. Oh my gosh. Thanks for hanging with us. This is like, Emmy and I chat all the time, and it's one of my favorite persons because we just get in and like have the best combos. And I will just say, if anyone listening, if there's a way that I can support you further, you're ready, you would like to make that kind of, you want support in your own life, whether it's your business goals or your health or your whatever it might be, please connect with me, let me know, or Emmy, who's also an amazing coach. Either of us, I also have other coaches as well, but reach out. We're all about helping as many individuals as possible to live your Youest You, to be your best self. So thank you. Thank you. We are sending our love
Thank you.
and
Yeah.
mwah,
Bye. Hope
love
to
and
see you
light.
inside there.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. We love you.